Economics, Standard 11, Unit 2, Consumers Analysis continued. Let us learn today under Consumers Analysis, Consumer Surplus. The concept of consumer surplus was originally introduced by classical economists. Later, it was modified by Jegan and Jules Dubit, the French engineer economist, in 1844. Jegan and Jules Dubit in 1844. The most refined form of the concept of consumer surplus was given by Alfred Marshall. This concept is based on the law of diminishing marginal utility. According to Alfred Marshall, consumer surplus is the excess of price which a person would be willing to pay a thing rather than go without the thing over that which he actually does pay is the economic measure of this surplus satisfaction. This may be called consumer surplus. So according to Marshall, the excess of price which a person would be willing to pay a thing rather than go without the thing over that which he actually does pay is the economic measure of this surplus satisfaction. This is called consumer surplus. Suppose, of course, it has got its own assumptions. According to Marshall assumed that utility can be measured. Secondly, the marginal utilities of money of the consumer remains constant. Thirdly, there are no substitutes for the commodity in question. Fourth, the taste, income, and character of the consumer do not change. And fifth, utility of one commodity does not depend upon the other commodity. Utility of one commodity does not depend upon the other commodity. Suppose a consumer wants to buy an apple. The actual price of an apple is ₹2. But the consumer wants to buy, he is willing to pay ₹4 rather than go without 8. That means he is willing to pay ₹4 for that apple rather than go without that. And that means he just pays, the consumer pays ₹4 for an apple which has its own actual price, ₹2. So, the price of an apple, the actual price of an apple ₹2, okay, and consumer willing to pay ₹4. So the consumer surplus, the surplus satisfaction he receives just comes ₹4 minus 2, so 2. So the consumer pays additional ₹2 for that particular apple. So this, what we call it as, that the consumer is willing to pay is called as potential price, and what he actually pays is therefore. So consumer surplus is equal to what a person is willing to pay, that is potential price, minus what he actually pays, that is actual price. So according to consumer surplus, potential price minus actual price. So CS, consumer surplus, is equal to potential price minus actual price. or we can say equal to TU, total utility, minus P into Q, price and the quantity of units. Okay, TU is total utility and P price and Q stands for quantity of the commodity. The concept of consumer surplus can be explained with the help of a table and diagram. So in the table, unit of apple and here potential price PP, let us keep it as an actual price of the apple and CS consumer surplus. So first unit, actual price is 2 rupees and potential price the consumer is willing to pay 6 rupees. So 6 minus 2, that is 4 rupees. And second apple, and actual price remains the same and the consumer is willing to pay 5 rupees. 5 minus 2, 3. And third one, the actual price is once again 2 rupees and consumer is willing to pay 4 rupees. So 4 minus 2, 2. And fourth, that is 3 rupees consumer is willing to pay when the apple actual price is 2 rupees. So 1 rupee becomes as the consumer surplus. And fifth one, that is actual price of the apple is 2 rupees. Potential price, I mean the consumer is willing to pay only 2 rupees. So 2 minus 2, 0. So the total, when we just calculate it, here we can see potential price 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2, 20. And here actual price 5 into 2, so 10. And here 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9 plus 1, 10. So potential price is 20 and actual price is 10. So the consumer surplus is 10. So this can be just applied here. TU, total utility, that is minus, so total utility minus, you can take it like this, total utility minus P into Q. So here 20 minus P, price, actual price 2 rupees into 5. So equal to 20 minus 10 equal to 10. So consumer surplus is 10. This can be easily proved in the table. Same thing with the help of the diagram also we can prove it. X-axis, the horizontal line is X-axis. And in X-axis we just mark it quantity demanded. So quantity demanded. And in Y-axis, price of the commodity. Okay, now OP is the price, then the quantity demanded is OQ. So when OP is the price, the quantity demanded is OQ. So automatically you can just join this one. So here OC. And when OP is the actual price of the commodity, OQ is the quantity demanded for that commodity. But the consumer is willing to pay an additional money. So OP, that is OD. So OD becomes as the price of the commodity by the consumer. So then same for that OQ quantity. So automatically then it just goes for this. So D and D1 curve. So this is called as consumer's curve. Okay. Now see. So OPCQ is the actual price of the commodity and ODCQ is the potential price of the commodity. So ODCQ, potential price minus actual price, OPCQ, OPCQ equal to then PDC. So consumer surplus is PDC. This part is consumer surplus. We can just mark it. Okay, and usually remember the consumer surplus curve just is like, no, it will not come in the straight line. It is always a curve. So that we have to keep in mind. So in this way, we can easily just explain with the help of the diagram the consumer surplus. Remember once again, the actual price of the commodity is just marked in the diagram as OPCQ. So OP is the price, actual price, and OQ is the quantity demanded. So OPCQ is the what we call it as actual price of the quantity demanded. And ODCQ is the potential price, the price paid by the consumer. So ODCQ is potential price minus OPCQ, that is actual price. So according to the formula, CS, consumer surplus, is equal to potential price minus actual price. So ODCQ minus OPCQ equal to PDC. So this can be easily clearly drawn. So D1 is the consumer's curve. Let us continue this lesson the next class.